Hey everyone, welcome back to KASH Talk. Then you cue the music. It's Kiana,
It's your boy Ham Van Dam. We here.
and we're back with another episode.
Da 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 da. What is this? Episode.
5?
Look at us. 5 episodes deep. I love it. I love that for us, really.
Halfway through the season.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. Okay, so this week, this episode is going to be a little more, I want to say it's lighthearted, but it's not because people be passionate. But compared to our other conversations, this is a little more lighthearted. It can spark debate, so I guess, but we're going to start out with the affirmation this week.
And what is it?
And it is, I have the drive and motivation to pursue my goals.
I do. I really,
So
really
from
do.
that, you can tell we're talking something about drive, motivation, and goals, obviously. So this week, we'll be talking about 9 to 5 versus self-employment. We're going to try to make it a little more enjoyable and not like the Twitter dialogue that we see all the time, but we will talk about that. Jay-Z brunch Twitter.
Yep. Jay-Z brunch Twitter.
So, so let's just talk about the differences between 9 to 5. I work 9 to 5 and Shane is an entrepreneur.
I am.
So we're just talk about our experiences, some pros and cons, some things that people don't seem to think about when they try to say self-employment is like the way to go. And, just overall experiences and things that we've heard from our friends, some experiences we've had. We're trying to do both at the same time because that's mostly me. I work 9 to 5, but I also do, the podcast, the Instagram, my website, all as a hobby. But you can also call that me being an entrepreneur on the side.
Yep. As an entrepreneur and also a member of Jay-Z brunch Twitter. I mean, it's two sides. I feel like it's two sides of the same coin. I'm not gonna lie to you. There was a point in time where I was a 9 to 5 slanderer. I'm maybe still a little bit of a 9 to 5 slanderer. Not necessarily because I believe that people who work 9 to 5s are soulless zombies or something like that. But
it feels like it the way we can. There's a cycle. You just wake up, go to work, go to sleep. Wake up, go to work, go to sleep.
I mean, it just has a little bit of some preconceived notions. I have let's see. So I just recently became an entrepreneur full time. I would say last August 2020, August 28th, 2020 to be exact. I will always remember that day. I would say that I was working a job. I didn't necessarily mind my job. It was a decent job. It was in social services. I like helping people. I like talking to people. And I like helping people get to where they need to be, excuse me. But it just wasn't fulfilling to me. It wasn't. It was a lot of work.
What do you mean by fulfilling?
It didn't scratch my itch, if that makes sense, my proverbial itch. I didn't feel a certain passion behind it. I didn't feel a certain drive behind it. I felt like I was just going to work, just to work. And, that just wasn't for me. So I made the drastic decision. During
a pandemic.
During a pandemic. That's how you know it was.
He didn't get no unemployment.
And I didn't get no unemployment because I quit. Instead of being fired or laid off, because I've never been fired before, knock on wood. But yeah, I felt it. I was sitting in the office at our old apartment, and I was just like, yo, I don't think I could do this shit anymore. Honestly, I don't. It's like giving me 35 clients. I got 35 people I need to worry about on a consistent basis. And if one of these people, they get sick or they feel some type of way, it was weighing on my emotional, what's the word I'm looking for? Capacity, I guess. Yeah, it was weighing on it. Like, I just felt like I'm not invested in myself. This is not a job that's investing in me. And just to not even to go on a spiel, but remember, I applied for a promotion and they gave it to somebody else. Yeah. So I was tight about that.
Talking about you were perfect, but
I did 3 rounds of interviews for them to give it to somebody else. And that just kind of, I mean, I guess that was the kind of like the nail in the coffin that was like, you know what? They're not invested in me. Maybe it's time for you to sit down and invest in yourself. And I did. And I mean, it's one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. You know, as of this point, you know, I don't want to say struggling, but you know, I'm still finding my way. I feel like there's a way that I feel confident that there's a way that I can do what I want to do and sustain a living. And I'm kind of just in the middle of that, kind of figuring that out. So it was drastic. I wouldn't recommend it. To be honest, I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, he had no plan.
Yeah.
He kind of was just like, fuck this shit.
And it's a good thing you brought that up, because that's kind of where it's kind of like the basis of entrepreneurship. Like, some people just kind of just jump into it without a plan.
Yeah.
And
they think it's easy. Like, I just work for myself. I promote myself on Instagram and I get some money. It's not that simple.
not even remotely. I promise you. There's so many things I've learned within these past 14 months that I did not know in August of 2020 that I walked into this entrepreneurship journey into, and I was like, yeah, I got this shit. And I did not have it. And I had to sit my ass down and learn something about it. And I'm grateful for it. I'm not going to lie. I'm really grateful for it. I'm a learner by...
I mean, that's what we
I learned by experience.
To do.
I learned by experience. Yeah. I'm the type of person they be like, yo, don't touch that. But I'd be like, why? Like, why do I need to not touch that? I got to break it down. It's nasty. I shouldn't be this way. Or maybe I should. But that's my entrepreneur spiel and how I got here. Kiana, kind of talk about the 9-to-5 life you've kind of been experiencing. You know, we've been up here for 3 years. You've had a job this entire time. You know, there's been you've had two kind of sides of the 9-to-5 life. You've been in the office, and, you know, for the past year and a half, you've been remote. So kind of talk about that.
Well, first off, I started working in general when I was like 14. You know, SYEP.
Same.
I did InStep, which was basically like an internship / SYEP for the school year. So I got paid below minimum fucking wage. Like, now that I think about it, I'm like, they were paying me like $4 an hour when you think about it. And they called it a stipend. But like, no, you're exploiting children for work. But, you know, when you think about it now, of course you see that. But I was like, I'm sitting here tutoring 3rd and 4th graders getting $4 an hour, like $75 every 2 weeks. And I'm thinking I'm making money.
Did they try to give you like a lump sum?
No, it was like every 2 weeks we got a little debit card, and they just loaded that money on the debit card. And I remember before the debit cards, I was getting actual checks. And imagine a 14, 15-year-old going into the check cash and like, I'm going to cash my paycheck. Mm-hmm. Like, that was me. And like, I lived all over the place. So I was working in Far Rock. I was working Baisley Projects. I was working Jamaica. I worked everywhere in Queens, to be honest. And then I just thought that's just what I was supposed to do. So thanks to Shane's mom, right after I graduated college, I got a job in social services because his mom hooked me up. She was best friends at the time with the director at the time. And I walked into the interview. She was just like, I like your vibe. And she just hired me on the spot. That was a red flag.
Well,
now that I know it's a red flag, because that whole, like, she was amazing, but the agency as a whole was woof. But I'm one of those people that believe in steady income, because I seen what it was like growing up to go from job to, you know, parents and family members going job to job, or like struggling and having to, you know, try to make ends meet. So I'm one of those people that strongly believes in a guaranteed income. Mm-hmm. So I'm pro 9-to-5, I guess, but I'm pro 9-to-5 if you enjoy it. So obviously find something that you like to do. I didn't really hate social services, but it just was mentally draining for me. I had panic attacks. My clients were insane. And not because of any other reason. They thought I was like a miracle worker. So it drained me at times. Yeah. But I always loved that every Friday at 3 a.m. in the morning, that $1,200 is hitting my account.
Yep.
So I can guarantee that I have that money. So that's that. And then now working 9 to 5, working from home, and especially working in the education field right now, I had a totally different experience than Shane working from home. My job is very lax. My current job, I am starting a new job next week, but my current job is very lax. Do what you got to do, and that's it. My boss don't bother me. He's one of those bosses where it's like you and your coworker, y'all run the shit, and I just sign the checks. So I don't feel that stress that a lot of people do when it comes to than regular 9 to 5 jobs, but I've experienced it in my previous job, and I understand why a lot of people are anti 9 to 5. It's like you're working to fulfill somebody else's dream. However, if you're working in your field, is it really fulfilling somebody else's dream, or are you just working in the field that you desire to be in? So I really like working with children. I really like the higher education field. I really like helping people. I like talking to people. And that's what I do at my job. And like sometimes you hear me like, yo, fuck this shit. Like I don't want to do this no more. But that's just the everyday life. That's just part of it. So like I said, I'm pro 9 to 5 because I believe in steady income. My bills are always paid. Like I get that check. First thing I do is pay my bills. I don't have to worry about it. Whereas I'm not that person like Shane that could quit their job and be a part of the gig community to fulfill my jobs, because something like that, it don't hit for me, because it could be raining outside and that fuck up my whole day. I'd be like, oh, it's raining. I guess I'm staying in. I'm not doing nothing. But Shane is out. Exactly. But Shane is outside 6, 7 a.m. doing Instacart. That ain't me. I ain't doing it. It's not for me. No. So I need a 9 to 5.
I mean, yeah. I think it's an approach. It's an approach thing. It has a lot to do with kind of how your mentality is shaped. I don't think I'm anti 9 to 5. Well, at least not anymore. I think that it's all, like I said, it's all about your approach. Like a lot of people and a lot of entrepreneurs will understand this, as we continue to grow in our journey, is that sometimes you have to become like an intrapreneur. And if you don't know what that is, that's kind of like an entrepreneur that works within the confines of a company, and you have the level of cachet, the level of clout with your boss, that your boss is going to let you do whatever the fuck you want. Precisely, if you are, for example, like you work for a media company and you want your own media company, and this is kind of like parlaying off what I want to do. If I go into a media company and, I don't have the requisite funds, we're a startup company over at SFE. We don't have the requisite funds to go and produce high quality content. But if I go into, say, a Vice Media, Complex Media, and I learn the intricacies in and out, and I go in, my boss is like, hey, Ham, like, you really do good work. Like, I like the way you think. I like the way you move. I'm going to give you $4 million. Let's go produce something for a new piece of content for whatever, for Fridays or Flashback Fridays or something like that. That's something that you should be cognizant of, honestly. You should be looking forward to, because that's going to teach you when you get the big money. All right, this is how I move. This is how I move. Like people think that you got to do this by yourself. This is not a self journey. But it's not.
I'm just saying, that's, you're not doing it by yourself. Technically, that means you got employees, and then
you gotta hire 9 to 5 people.
Exactly. Like those people that work for your company are going to be 9 to 5ers, so you're shitting on your future employees. Like, it's not giving what you thought it was giving.
It's not making the sense you need it to
like,
make.
Perfect example. I legit just typed in 9 to 5 job on Twitter. First thing that pops up. Harsh truth. Most people relying on 9 to 5 jobs are going to have to work until they die. Please don't let this be you. First of all,
we all work until we die.
Exactly. There's no such thing as a person that doesn't work until they die. Like, I understand where they probably think they're coming from, but like Jeff Bezos, perfect example. That nigga's still working. He is. Like, he has a lot of money, yes, and he's not doing great things with his current employees. But you see how it is. And that's my thing. You cannot be a billionaire or a millionaire without exploiting people. So if that's your niche and that's what you're into, sure, go do it. But unless you're doing things properly, Like, you're going to be unless you're doing things that aren't proper. Let me correct that. You're going to work until the day you die.
That's facts. And especially if you're an entrepreneur, entrepreneurs work on Saturdays and Sundays.
Exactly.
Like, that's what we do.
I'm off. I work because I got a part-time job. But
Kiana be sitting on the couch while I be at the computer like this.
I don't be doing shit.
With my eyes burning out my screen, because we don't work on a schedule. And yeah, that has its pros, but it has its cons too. Like,
I could leave my work at work.
There's power in structure. I will say that there is power in structure. I agree with that wholeheartedly, and that is something I have learned as I've became an entrepreneur. Is that it's a lot of power. It's just a power in organization, and when you don't have people kind of telling you what to do,
you got to figure that shit out. You got to do it yourself. Like, and then that's a whole new process. Like, Shane's journey alone, because I live with him, I see what he goes through, and I'm just like, yeah, it's a no for me. Like, I got my little DBA under him, but he do all the hard work. I just make a little content. So, like, that's it.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
He had to go back to school to get his master's to even learn what he's doing now. And when you think about it, a lot of people that are opening I won't say little, sorry.
Please don't say they little business entrepreneurs.
I mean, some people, they be opening their little, because listen, I got a lot of people that I follow that I don't know personally. So don't think I'm talking about y'all, because some people like take things personally, but people that I don't know, I'm going to use somebody I know. My little sister, she's a prime example. She had this little lip gloss business.
Shout out, Deji.
Yes, thank you, Nadej. I hope you're listening. She's applying to college as we speak. But she was like, oh, I want to sell lashes. I want to sell lip gloss, thinking it was going to be easy. And that little bitch done stopped after like 3 months, because she was like, I'm not doing this. This is too much. And I love her to death, but like, she thought it was easy. She was like, oh, I just put my little castor oil and shea butter together and make a color, and I just sell it to people. But then the same people that she was selling it to was family and friends. She didn't think about the marketing of it. She didn't think about reinvesting her money into products and coming out with new products, the branding. Like, it was just like, Deji Lips. And then look... And then she was just selling it to her friends and stuff. And granted, the lip gloss was bomb. Like, she made some great lip gloss. My mom helped her out with it. But she wasn't in it. She thought it was going to be way easier than it was. And I feel like Twitter really makes people think that this shit is easy. And it is not. As somebody that works 9 to 5 and also creates content, I personally don't think I could create content 24/7, because my brain will explode. At work, I have, you got to schedule. I know this seasons with work, like recruitment season. I know every July through this day, I got to start thinking about recruitment. This month to this month, I got to go into schools and do recruitment. This month to this month is just retention. But when it comes to entrepreneurship, you thinking new ideas every single day, every single week, every single month. You can't just repeat the same thing over and over again.
Every hour.
I want to do that. It's not for everybody, and I need people to understand that. Everybody cannot be a boss. Period.
If everybody's a boss, then who's really working?
Exactly. Y'all, not y'all, but some of y'all on Twitter jacking this whole, I don't want to work for the man. I don't want to be nobody's minion, da-da-da-da-da. Thanks, because now I know not to work for you.
I just think that we just don't understand. Some entrepreneurs, we just don't understand, and I don't want to say some. I think a lot of them that are in the beginning stages, and I include myself into this, just thinks that you can do this by yourself, or you can figure it out by yourself. And every good entrepreneur has a team. Every single one. You look at all these startup companies. You think all these startup companies started off with just one person. You have to sit down. You're being an entrepreneur, you got to sit down and convince people to work for you. Yeah. Wait, sometimes for free.
Then you got to convince people to give you money. And that's my thing too. Entrepreneurs ain't just coming out like, yeah, I saved $100 bazillion and I was able to get my warehouse and blah, blah, blah. No, they had to go to us regular bitches working in the bank and be like, hey, I would like a grant. I have to fill out this money. Yep. They have to interview with 9 to 5ers to get approvals. They had to visit companies to get warehouse and merchandise. They rely on 9 to 5 people to even be an entrepreneur. So I don't understand the slander.
It's a lot of slander. And that's not to get on we slandering entrepreneurs because I
Oh
wouldn't
no, no,
allow.
no. I'm just saying,
Because
like,
it's definitely a lot
this is a
that
reality check.
it is a reality check. But I like I say, I think it's worth it, honestly and truly. But that's just how I'm set up. Is that I believe that my brain, I am thoroughly satisfied when my brain is working on creative stuff all day. Like that is how I like to work. That's just me personally. Entrepreneurs, they have the tendency to they're risk takers, and that's a positive. I think that's a positive thing. It can be a negative thing, but I like to look at it as a positive thing because if you're willing to take risks, that means that you're willing to reap the rewards of those risks. And
But you also have to be able to learn from it, and that
Yep.
seems to be the disconnect.
that
of it.
is the disconnect. I would say that that's the disconnect, is that if you're not taking your lessons that you're learning and reapplying them, then you're going to be stuck in this cycle over and over and over again. And that's something that I had to experience. I was taking my licks. I've been taking my licks for years. Years.
Yeah, SFE ain't new.
It's not. We're a 10-year company. We're an 11-year company. My apology. October 2010. Me and DJ Trey. First party. Brockport, New York. We're not new to this. We true to this. But for the past 2 years is when we really started to lock in.
And what did you use to motivate yourself? You had to use your 9-to-5 money to begin your business.
I did. But I say that to say that whether it's 9 to 5, whether it's self-employment, you have to invest in yourself. Like this is all investment. Like if you're gonna go and you're gonna work a 9 to 5 for however you wanna learn, or 10 to 6, whatever, like that's an investment in yourself.
So
That's
make sure it's something you want to do.
precisely because there's people like there's ESPN and all these broadcasters, sports broadcasters. I'm around them all the time. Like everybody that wants to be in sports television and stuff. These are people what they want to do. They want to do this. They want to work for ESPN. They want to work for these big companies, Walt Disney and stuff like that. And they have all intentions of working a 9 to 5. They don't want to work no they don't want to build no company. I'm in an entrepreneur.
I think people that do things like that legit go in the studio, record their little sports clips or whatever, and then go home. But it's like, no, they have to go in the office. They walk around. They
have a team.
Yeah.
They have a research team. People come and give them stats and stuff like that. Like
brainstorming.
And some of the best people are people that work for companies. And that's I mean, some of the best some of the best minds are people that have built up companies, like built up ESPN, built up TNT, built up all these media companies, built up all these regular businesses too. Like the person that made Scott's tissue, you think that he has a whole team. There's a product quality person. Like there's people
they all
that
work 9 to 5.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep saying it. Yeah, it might not be 9 to 5, but it might be like 6 to 2, 7 to 3, like 8-hour shifts. If you're working a shift, 9 to 5.
Who said work had to start at 9 in the first place?
Yeah, I don't know who said that. Honestly, I'm a person that would prefer a 7 to 3 because it will still be light outside when it's daylight savings, because I should not be coming home and it's pitch black and I think it's 10 p.m.
Got to become a teacher.
No, thanks. Shout outs to y'all teachers, but I can't do it.
Me neither. I'm sorry. So I know that you mentioned earlier, you said that you do both, right? So let's kind of go into like, and I did both for a while too before I decided to go full-time SFE. But let's kind of talk about what kind of the I would say the routine of kind of structuring how to effectively do.
Wrong person you talking to, because
Man.
I don't got no routine. I do my job, and like I said, my boss is very lax, so I can finish my work legit in 2 hours. A whole day's worth of work I can finish in 2 hours. And I can understand why some people may be against 9 to 5, because it doesn't really take those whole hours to complete your task for the day.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you're just twiddling your thumbs trying to figure out what to do. So that's what I do in the makeup time. So because I work in the education field and I do supply the wellness content for my current role,
Yep.
I kind of use that to work to my advantage.
She curated that role, by the way.
Yeah, I made it up. My boss just signed it off. I was like, the kids need this. He was like, yeah. Now I get paid to do it. So while I'm creating newsletters and flyers and lesson plans for my students, I'm taking that same type of content and just turning it into a new age adult format. So I can do that within my 9 to 5. And a lot of the stuff that I do, I can honestly just do on my phone. So we could be sitting down watching Law and Order and I'm making a flyer on Canva or something. So with me, I'm that type of person that I can do a lot of things on the go, and I work really well, like just doing stuff on the whim. So that's why it works for me. But if I wanted to take it a little more seriously, I would have to actually sit down, plan out everything I want to do, and carve out time for that. So that means I will be working 7 days a week, because that means that I have my 9 to 5 job. And knowing me, after I log out that computer, I ain't doing shit. So I log out, I make us dinner, I wait for Shane to come home, something like that. And that's it for me for the day. So that means my whole weekend would have to be dedicated to writing blog posts, recording the podcast, planning the next couple weeks, reading the books that I have. I read a lot, and I listen to a lot of audiobooks. So like making sure that I'm on top of that. So a lot of things like that I would have to plan. And my brain does not, like I said, we spoke about it in the calendar when we were talking about calendars. I cannot do that. I cannot be like, oh, this is the time for me to write my blog post, because if I ain't in the mood, I ain't doing it.
I give you that. I like the fact that you said that, because it kind of just speaks to the fact that you're very disciplined, and that I don't want to say you don't need a calendar, but you understand that there are certain things that need to be done, and you'll do them, and you'll give yourself the requisite time to do them. Like even when we spoke about earlier in our meeting earlier today, because, our operations meeting, is that, it's a lot of things that we're going to have to adjust next week, because you're starting your employment, and by the time this airs, she'll be deep in the shit. But
yeah.
It's going to be an adjustment period for a year and a half. You've been working remotely. You're going back into the office.
Ugh.
And I'm
anti 9 to 5 in the office.
Slander.
I'm very pro work from home, because why the hell do I got to put on clothes
for a year? She's pro work from home because she's been home for a year.
I've been home for almost 2 years, because it's as soon as the pandemic hit, my boss was like, go home. And he was like, don't come back. Like, he goes in the office, and we can go in the office, but he doesn't care. He's just like, you could work from home, because why would I have you in the office? Legit, he would walk into my office and I'm playing Sudoku, or I'm like doing push-ups doing nonsense, like a fitness challenge. And he's like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, I'm bored. And so he understands, like, I work better at home.
And I mean, you do. Look at the level of discipline that you've been able to have. I mean, working from home that's a discipline thing in itself, because when I was working from home, I'm technically supposed to be at work at 8:30 to 5. I'm waking up about 10 o'clock.
I mean, I do that too, but
I got to get my breakfast in.
I be logged in on my phone.
No, but I'm talking about, remember when I was working, I was waking up at 10 o'clock.
Full course
breakfast, and I start working about 12. And you could be blowing my phone. What you want? Yeah. And I mean, that comes with the discipline. And I feel like you're set up to be successful in both, honestly, because you have that level of discipline that it's like, all right, this is what I want to do. Yeah, night is moving, guys.
So if you hear the dog.
But I'm saying, like, you set up yourself that if this is what you want to do, you want to do this. So I'm going to make sure that I have my work stuff. I'm doing 9 to 5. Okay. I'm working from this time to this time. And if I'm working from this time to this time, then if I come home, maybe I'll work on some content. Maybe I'll put it off to the weekend. That's something that you're going to have to decide what's going to work for you. That comes from, kind of experiencing it from the first place. But yeah, I think that's very, very impressive. I'm not that disciplined, guys. Not even remotely.
I kind of just use
I'm literally learning.
I don't use my time wisely for the most part.
You do. Yeah. Don't give yourself some credit.
You doing nothing most of the time.
Regardless, you do nothing, but after you've done everything, like
that's true. But sometimes I be doing nothing before I do everything.
Well, you got a time planned out from when you want to do nothing.
If I know that I need time to mentally just soak in my depression or my anxiety, I give myself that time. And it's funny because I saw a TikTok that was like, this girl was talking to her therapist and she schedules her mental breakdown. So she's like, oh, I got so much to do. I can't have a mental breakdown till Saturday. And me, I'm like, I'm gonna cry right now. Like this report or whatever is gonna happen. I'm gonna get it done. but I'm gonna cry right now.
Indeed. And yeah, I mean, it's a different level of stress, I would say. Yeah. It's on the entrepreneurial side. Oh my God.
Yeah, I haven't been stressed out at all with any content stuff because,
I mean, as somebody who's running 3 podcasts now, getting ready for a couple of launches that we plan on doing at the top of 2022, like,
well, technically, this is going to be.
This is one of the launches, by the way, if you guys didn't know. But
I mean,
well, there are 5 episodes. But yeah, like somebody who's sitting here and has to plan, like as somebody who's coming from an undisciplined like background, and I'm not to say that
he got disciplined, but he mean like in this field.
Yeah, like this is something that's very new to me, even though
mama.
I do have a black mama. Sorry, Mom, for insinuating that I'm not disciplined. But yeah, but somebody who's coming from like really learning how to be extremely disciplined and focused, like I have a focus issue. I will veer off. It's something that has been a learning curve, I would say. It's definitely been a learning curve, but I've seen the benefits of it. That's the one of the things that I feel like it's not spoken about enough. Like you lock in, you're gonna be like, okay, cool. I need to do this, and this. I have the discipline to do this. Do I have the discipline to do this? And like I said, you're an entrepreneur. No one gives a damn if you do it or not.
Yeah, nobody on top of you.
You're not getting a grade for it. You're not getting paid for it. Like,
and see, that's why I don't want to do shit. You're not giving me no money.
That's a fact. I be up until 2 a.m. editing people podcasts. I'm not necessarily getting paid for it yet because it's our original content, but it will because you guys will be streaming it consistently, right, guys? But yeah, like I had to get into the mentality that okay, this is what I'm doing now because this is I'm gonna reap the benefits of this later.
And I don't work like that. I need instant gratification. I need every 2 weeks on that Friday, I got the check. I need it. I'm sorry.
And that's hard. But that's hard when you're an entrepreneur. Like I said earlier, like you're trying to convince people to work for you and see the vision, but not necessarily get paid what they're worth now. And convincing people to do that is hard. Me and Elle and Spade, like we really trying to sit down with people and like, yo, all right, I need you to do video production for me.
For $50.
Not $50. I'm not giving people $50.
I'm being dramatic.
You know, video production, that's a lot of work. You got to sit down, you got to edit, you got to do this, that, and the third. Like, just worth your time. You could be charged people charge $600-$700 for it. In the industry, they charge you $20,000-$30,000 for it. And I'm asking you to do it for a set fee that I'm not going to tell you guys because y'all not about to be head cracking me in the future. But you know, just to know that they see the vision.
And that money came from money that he had to do gig work for.
Yep.
It's not like he got some money from the sky and he now could pay people. No, he had to use the money that he worked for. Instead of spending it on himself, he's giving it to other people. And I'm not doing that shit. No. I'm not going to be in the streets in the rain and in the snow like, yo, I got to pay my bro for doing the photography. Yes. No, I need to buy books. I need to buy hair supplies. I need to buy food. But no, he's thinking more like he pays our bills. So don't think that I'm saying he don't pay bills. But like
on top of that, I don't get to spend money on new clothing, new shoes,
when Shane
and stuff
got new
like
clothes,
that.
9 times out of 10, I bought him new clothes. And that's because he doesn't have the money to spend on himself. So he's thankfully been blessed with me. And I make sure that he has some things that he needs because I'm like, you're not going to be out here with your holy shoes. Like, he don't got holy shoes. But like, you know, certain things like him sacrificing not getting a haircut and knows that that's a big for me. You need a haircut. But I know that it's because he's too busy supplying a money like trail for his business. And it's funny because a lot of that money, I have to use that business money to then fund myself. So I'm like, I do need some new incense. So you better go like hop in that Uber so I can get, because I'm not spending my money.
And I mean, that's the sacrifice I'm willing to make. And that's the thick of it, honestly. That's the sacrifice I'm willing to make. I'll be ugly for a couple weeks. I'm sorry, my beautiful girlfriend, but you know, I'll make the requisite sacrifices now. To get to where we need to be.
Yeah, it's only like a year and some change. And so it's not like I expect him to be, And that's another thing. If your partner is an entrepreneur and you cannot support them, break up. If you cannot be...
It's a different life. I would say that.
It's something that you have to be comfortable doing. And not to say break up, be like, oh, like, fuck that nigga, da, da, da. But if you know that you're not comfortable supplying that extra support, do not do it. Don't resent them because of that. Like, just leave.
And not even to cut you off, not even financial support. We're talking about emotional support. Like, we need that. Like, I had a breakdown the other day, and I had to call Kiana, and I'm like, yo, Kiana, I'm going through it. Like, I'm going through it. I'm in Costco's.
Slow the fuck down.
I'm in Costco's. My damn, I can't find my phone. I'm sitting here like, yo, I bent down to tie my shoes. Where the fuck my phone went? And you know, I had to call Kiana because I'm like, yo, I am losing my mind.
After he found the phone.
Yeah, I'm like, obviously.
Because I was like, what you mean you lost your phone? You called me. He's like, obviously I found it.
Yeah, but I'm in Costco's for an hour and a half because I'm moving, and that's just some self-realization is that I'm moving 5 million miles per hour because I got all these things and all these responsibilities and all these people necessarily depending on me, and my business depends on me. And, you know, you have to have that person that could tell you, yo, pick your head up. You need to breathe. You need to take a break. Because if you don't take 45 minutes right now, you're going to crash and you're going to end up paying for it in the long run.
Yeah. And like, once again, he's blessed with me. So I've experienced not being an entrepreneur, but working social work, going to grad school, trying to have a social life, and then doing everything all over the place. And actually, like, I've had that breakdown, and I'm trying to make sure he avoids it. Like, I've been in the hospital. I've been like not eating. I've been like sick, and I'm trying to, and it's explaining to him like, your head, anything you think mentally affects you physically. And you need to slow down before you're actually going to get sick. Like, you're actually going to get sick. And it's true. Like, he be coughing. I'm like, what the hell are you coughing for? He be like getting headaches. He does this like weight fluctuation thing. And that's because he's just doing too much. And I'm like, you doing a lot right now.
I also don't eat often.
Yes. And he be eating fucking French fries. I'm like, it's 10 p.m. The only thing you got in your stomach is French fries. Like, so me being the person I am, I make sure at least he has one good meal a day. If I can't make him breakfast, but I could make him lunch, he will have lunch. If I can't make him breakfast and lunch, I always make dinner. Not always, but like 95% of the time I make dinner. So it's like just making sure that he's fueled. I have to remind this man to drink water.
It's terrible.
I have issues. I'm looking for the perfect water bottle to buy him so that he can be motivated to even drink water. I spent $20 on a case of coconut water thinking he gonna drink it. He drank one.
I have two. I actually have one right next to me.
That I brought to him that I had to put in the freezer to get cold.
I'm sorry, guys.
And that's better. That's why I'm saying, like, if you're with somebody that wants to pursue being an entrepreneur, you really have to be in the mental space for it. Because I have friends that have partners that want to be entrepreneurs and they aren't contributing and they're frustrated about it. And my whole thing is like, I mean, if you support them, you can't really be frustrated as long as they're doing what they're supposed to do. Some people don't. So that's another conversation that I'm not going to have right now.
And I'm on a mission to not be a bum. I want that to be known. I'm on a mission, but I'm on a mission though. Like, I'm not doing this for my health. I'm not sitting on the couch. I'm not sitting on my ass for 12, 14 hours a day, not doing nothing, like, and then having my girlfriend support me. No, I'm out here getting it. I'm not kidding. Sending no shots, but I'm saying like it's not. It's a support thing. Like, I have to support her as well. Like, 9 to 5 is not easy. You got to sit down. You got to listen. You got to listen to what is going on at work.
You be listening to me, bitch.
You know, it's frustrating. Sometimes it's frustrating having to answer to somebody and answer to
explain things multiple times. Like, oh, I'm big on that. Like, if everything is in a Google Doc, why you ask me where it is?
And it's like, sometimes you got to be that sounding board. Like, a lot of people don't understand. You got to be that sounding board. You got to sit there even when you're tired, even when you do this. And I mean, we struggle with that for a couple of years and kind of just being each other's sounding board and stuff like that. But, you know, you have to be like that level. You have to have that level of support system when you're dealing with like people who are in the creative space and in the entrepreneurial space. Like, it gets tough, guys. I'm not gonna lie. It gets really tough. And it's important. That's why it's important that we have that. We both support each other in our respective fields.
Yep. So I'm gonna like wrap it up a bit and basically just say it's okay to have a 9 to 5 and it's okay to be an entrepreneur.
It is.
And the best thing you can do for yourself is plan. If you are currently working 9 to 5 and you want to transition into being an entrepreneur and you don't have savings and you don't have any extra money, because that is most likely all of us. A lot of us, it's a privilege to have a savings account.
It is.
So, because I ain't got one. But anyway, make sure you have a plan. If you know that 9 to 5 is deterring you from working your entrepreneurship job, maybe get a side hustle, do gigs. If you have a car, do Uber Eats, do Instacart. If you don't have a car, maybe you can do like a part-time job that's overnight so your days are full, like something to make sure you have something in your pockets to fuel that entrepreneur, because you're not just going to get money. And you don't want to burn out your savings on your business and then not have anything to live.
Plan. That's all I could say, especially for my entrepreneurial people out there. I want you to launch your shit. I do. I want you to sit down. If you have something you're passionate about, you it's better off you launch it, as my professor tells me, and it fail, so that you have that information and you could either adjust or pivot. Then you're not doing anything at all, or you just going into it blindly.
Yep.
Plan.
No Souls Heal was self-care cash.
It was self-care cash.
What was it? Cash journey. It was a whole bunch of nonsense before
we sat down and planned it.
Yep.
And now it's No All Souls Heals, and we have a podcast called Cash Talk, and Book of the Month.
Yep.
And a blog.
Yep.
And a playlist.
Yep.
Look at us. We doing big things. So yeah, let's wrap it up. This was a good one. I like this one.
Because we were just rambling.
It's always good to ramble. But yeah, give us the affirmation one more time so that people know it.
Boy, I'm never ready for this. Hold on. My phone locked. But I have the drive and motivation to pursue my goals. So that is the affirmation this week. Say it to yourself in the mirror. Say it to yourself in the shower. Say it to yourself while you're driving. Say it to yourself while you're commuting. Follow us at No Souls Heal on Instagram and _Cash Talk _ on Twitter. And then check out our website at nosoulsheal.com.
Yep. And you can follow us everywhere at Smooth Family ENT. Follow me everywhere at Frostmind Guru. And yeah, that's it. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful week, and we will see you next week.
Just insert that sound because I keep doing it.